Welcome to Arts 24. We're taking you to the Normandy coast, where the 51st American Film Festival gets underway in Deauville this weekend. Kristen Stewart, Kim Novak and Pamela are among the many stars to hit that famous boardwalk. And France 24's Genie Godula is the host of the festival, and she joins me now for more on that. Hi, Genie. Now tell us, what's on the bill this year at Deauville?
Hi, Olivia. Well, first of all, let me just say for over a half century now, this little Normandy sea town that sits not far from the D-Day beaches of World War II has been home to a uniquely American film festival here in France. Over the years, the festival has welcomed some incredible films and awarded some great independent films like Little Miss Sunshine, Being John Malkovich, Whiplash, or After Sun. Just about every big name you can think of has actually been here in Deauville over the years, from Harrison Ford to Meryl Streep to even Mick Jagger.
Yeah, it's definitely a landmark on the cultural calendar, I'd say. So it's the opening weekend. What can we expect?
All right. Well, the festival this year and this weekend is paying tribute to American icon Pamela Anderson. She's getting a Deauville Talent Award. Now, many of you might remember Pamela Anderson from her bright red swimsuit from the cult TV series Baywatch. But since then, she's actually completely reinvented herself in many different ways. First of all, if you have seen her physically, she's gone completely natural. She rarely ever wears makeup in public. But more importantly than that, she's really carved out a super interesting movie career for herself. She can do big budget comedies like The Naked Gun with Liam Neeson that's playing right now. But she's also made a big name for herself in independent film. For example, you might remember last year she earned several nominations for her role in The Last Showgirl that was directed by Giorgio Coppola. Also coming up this year in Deauville, we're going to have the actor Joel Edgerton, who's also going to get a Deauville Talent Award. Now, that's a little bit of a cheat because Edgerton's not American. He's actually Australian. But he has made a lot of movies in Hollywood, things like the Star Wars saga, Zero Dark 30, The Great Gatsby, the movie Loving that was screened here in Deauville a few years ago. And as this festival likes to pay tribute to young up-and-coming stars, they'll also give a new Hollywood Rising Star Award to Zoe Dutch. Now, Zoe Dutch you might remember from the comedy horror Vampire Academy. Here she'll be screening her new movie, which is called Nouvelle Vague. This is directed by Richard Linklater. And this is a great film that tells all about the production of that Nouvelle Vague, or New Wave classic film Breathless by Jean-Luc Godard, which actually is also going to be shown here on the big screen in Deauville.
Sounds suitably Franco-American. Well, in the meantime, let's take a look at the film opening the festival. It's called Splitsville, and it stars Dakota Johansson and Marvin. Now, Marvin is also in Deauville with the film's director, Michael Angelo Covino. This is a special trip for both of them, as 6 years ago, their film The Climb won the jury prize at the festival. Here's a look at their latest collaboration.
By the way, Julie and I had sex last night.
Why would I get divorced?
Please don't say that.
I'm unfaithful. I've been unfaithful.
Just one time? Two? Please don't make me count. Three?
Carrie! Now, Deauville often attracts quite a starry group of people for the jury. Tell us about the lineup this year.
So we have often the creme de la creme of French cinema. That's certainly the case this year for the jury. The jury president is Golshifteh Farahani, who's actually an Iranian French actress. She's won a César here in Deauville, which is the equivalent of the French Oscar in 2014. She also, interestingly, was the first Iranian actress to be in a Hollywood production since the Iranian Revolution of 1979. That was alongside Leonardo DiCaprio in a film by Ridley Scott. Also, in her jury, we'll find an actress that many of our international viewers will know. That's Philippine Leroy-Beaulieu, who you might know as Sylvie from the hit TV series Emily in Paris. Also, the French choreographer Benjamin Millepied is part of the jury as well.
Okay, well, 13 films in competition in total then. Lots of new directors, young talents, but quite a few famous faces as well.
Exactly. Two particular very famous faces for all of you. The first one is Kristen Stewart. Kristen Stewart, an actor who made her name, of course, in the Twilight series, has made several great films since then. She'll be presenting her first feature film as a director called The Chronology of Water. Kristen Stewart will also have a special meet and greet with fans here in Deauville, where she will talk about her love of French cinema and share some of her favorite French films. The other very famous name to watch out for, or to look out for here, the big actor-director in competition, is Scarlett Johansson. She'll be screening her first feature, Eleanor the Great. Take a look.
So, and I'm moving to Manhattan for the first time today.
I live in Staten.
My condolences. What am I going to do here all day alone?
I signed you up for a class at JCC.
I judged the morgue prematurely. I can see that now. Hi, I'm Eleanor.
I was wondering if I could feature you in my article. I did pick a subject for my journalism project.
Quite a departure for Scarlett Johansson there. Well, Deauville's not only about the competition. There's plenty of special events, including a couple of retrospectives this year. Tell us more.
One indeed is a very well-deserved retrospective, a long time coming. Deauville's paying tribute to cinema pioneer Alice Guy. Now, you might not know her name, but this French woman was actually the first female film director in the world. And moreover, she was also the first woman to create a film studio in the United States, even though she was French. So there's a whole retrospective of her films being shown here in Deauville. Same thing for the iconic actor Paul Newman. The festival is paying tribute to him to mark the 100th anniversary of his birth, and his daughter Clea will be here to pick up that award for him. And finally, 92-year-old Hollywood icon Kim Novak will be in Deauville. She will be getting an Icon Award after she just got another Lifetime Achievement Award at the Venice Film Festival last week. Kim Novak, not just that iconic star of Hitchcock films like Vertigo, she's also another feminist pioneer. She was actually the first woman to go on strike in Hollywood to get equal pay from her studio, Columbia Pictures. 40 years ago, Kim Novak walked away from Hollywood to focus more on other things in her life, like painting. She hasn't been seen much in public since then, so it's really great to have her here with us in Deauville. She's also the subject of a new documentary that'll be screened at the festival called Kim Novak's Vertigo. Take a look.
I was a disappointment to my father. And so when I got into movies, he was very against it. You know, he felt it was an evil place, Hollywood and all. I mean, the character in Genie goes, she would do anything, in a sense, to get ahead. Well, that's not me at all.
Sounds like a great opportunity to brush up on your cinema history there. Thanks so much for the roundup, Genie. And the Deauville American Film Festival is now on through September 14th, and we'll be checking back in with Genie at the midpoint in our film show on Wednesday. Well, from film to fashion now, as we take a look back at the career of a designer who shaped our idea of Italian elegance in the late 20th century. Tributes have been pouring in for Giorgio Armani, who's died at the age of 91. Dressing movie stars like Richard Gere and George Clooney, his women's wear went on to revolutionize 1980s style with its loose and sober silhouettes and luxurious fabrics. Emerald Maxwell tells us more about the man and his multi-billion-dollar fashion empire.
Known to industry admirers as Re or King Giorgio, Armani has died aged 91, the Armani company said of its CEO.
He worked until his final days, dedicating himself to the company, the collections, and the many ongoing and future projects.
Born in Piacenza in northern Italy in 1934, Giorgio Armani studied medicine before dropping out and taking his first steps in fashion when he was offered a job dressing the windows of a department store in Milan, the city he would eventually help become one of the world's fashion capitals. Armani became known for reimagining traditional men's tailoring. Elegant menswear, he argued, meant simplicity, and the relaxed suit would become his trademark. Armani made his first international splash when he dressed Richard Gere in American Gigolo in 1980. The start of a close relationship with Hollywood. He saw the value in dressing the stars, which would lead him to costume more than 200 films and the red carpet.
So we thought we were just fabulous because we had on Armani, and it's a girl's dream.
He does what he wants. He doesn't follow trends. He does whatever he's inspired to do and what he's feeling at that moment in time.
A self-confessed perfectionist, Armani supervised every last detail of his collections, an approach he would bring to the rest of his business empire too. Armani was one of the first Italian brands to expand into new markets, from beauty to homeware and hotels, restaurants and even chocolates.
I have to continue to perfect a lot of things that I started some years ago, like interior design and like the work I did with hotels and resorts. Therefore, the next few years will be about refining things.
Armani's drive and attention to detail paid off. His company generated some 2.3 billion euros turnover a year, a result that may have been tarnished by a 2024 investigation that found it had subcontracted work to Chinese-owned companies that exploited workers. The Armani company later took corrective action. Giorgio Armani's funeral will be private, but well-wishers will be able to pay their respects at a funeral chamber opened this weekend in Milan.
Well, staying in Italy, the Venice Film Festival has brought Hollywood stars and indie darlings to La Serenissima. And after winning the top prize there, the Golden Lion, 2 years ago, Yorgos Lanthimos has just shown his latest film, Bugonia, at the festival. Featuring his favourite leading lady, Emma Stone, the Greek director's tackling conspiracy theories, the apocalypse, and even extraterrestrials, with his typically dark comic style. We'll leave you with a look at the film. Otherwise, do join us here next time on Arts 24 for more movies, arts, and culture.
Welcome to the headquarters of the human resistance.
Where's my hair?
Your hair has been destroyed to prevent you from contacting your ship.
What ship? In the next 48 hours, the police and the FBI will begin a statewide manhunt. I'm a high-profile female corporate executive. I am crucial. In all humility, I can say that. Think of it like you abducted the governor, but worse.